That really important question, what is the best age to learn guitar? So from my 25 years experience of teaching thousands of people, writing books, courses, I'd say from 4 to 12 is a really great age to start. The benefits of learning guitar at a young age is that it boosts self-esteem and confidence. You make new friends who are learning instruments and you can play together and form really cool little groups, so it becomes a social thing as well. And it's also a great way to express yourself in creativity. I know most of the world, especially where I am, it's really focused on academic studies, maths, English, and I don't know what that's like where you are. But you know, we have two sides of the brain. We have the analytical, academic side, but we also have the creative side. And those two mixed together as a combination is a very powerful thing that I see. So music can bring so much joy and so much creativity to complement the academic stuff as well. Another thing that I see with youngsters who learn guitar is that it really helps to connect family bonds. It's a great way to interact. If you're a parent, grandparent wanting to learn alongside your child, it's a great way to do something together, what's really meaningful and making music. I find that really special, and that was a big part of my upbringing. And I also have that with my son, who's 11, and he started learning when he was around about 6 or 7. And each week we get together, we practice, and he's getting better. So I'd say that real sweet spot for learning an instrument is a 4 to 12. Okay, so the second question is, can you still learn the guitar at any age? And this is true. My youngest student I have ever taught was 4 years old, and my oldest student, who I'd still teach, is 79. So I don't see any limits on learning, or I think some of those limits we impose on ourselves, but we can break those barriers. It's just usually our attitude towards learning. And when we open ourselves up and we, as an adult learner, and we lift those expectations off ourselves and just go for it, there's a lot that can happen there. And I think just being on the journey, it's not the end, it's the journey, I think, as the saying goes, is where I see most of my adults make incredible improvements, just releasing that expectation of themselves. So please see that there is no limits, age limits to learning guitar. You know, if you've got good use of your fingers, you can hold the instrument, you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so the third one is, how long does it take to learn guitar? And that is a very good question, because I get asked that all the time. So I'm going to go through a few things and ideas of really how long you can expect to take. And it's down to two main things, which you probably know anyway. One is how much you practice. And the second one that is missed is your quality of practice. If you have a really high focus level of practice and you know exactly what to practice and what's going to get you results, so we call that method, then you're going to learn a lot faster. If you committed over 1 year to 30 minutes per day and you followed a really structured method, by the end of that year you would be playing guitar really well. I'm going to share some videos also of my students playing, so you can get an idea, and I'll put a time frame on how long they have also been learning for. So what you practice and how you practice. So knowing what to do and what to practice is pretty much everything. It outweighs the time as well. I used to practice 4 hours a day when I was a kid. I was like super committed to just like crushing this. And And then I realised that one of my most famous guitarists called John Williams, who's like, if you've ever heard of him, please go and check him out. He's like world class, one of the greatest like classical guitarists ever lived. And then when I read his biography, I got really curious to know that he only practiced 2 hours a day. And I'm like, I'm doing like 4 hours a day, but I'm not like nowhere near as good as he is. And then that prompted me to do research. So I researched how professionals, not only music but athletes and all different areas, that they have goals attached to the outcomes. They know exactly what to do, the things that get them results. So that sent me on a journey to understand that. In my own playing and practice, I can achieve more now in 30 minutes than I used to do in 4 hours. So I can actually practice less and gain more because I have an understanding of what practice is, how to practice and how to get those results. So back to the question, how long does it take to learn guitar? I'd say if you commitment is a big thing as well. You have to be committed. You can't just do bits and bobs. So you go with your commitment, your enthusiasm, and practice around 20-30 minutes a day. In 1 year, you'll be really surprised of how far you've come and having a structured method. Now, I know my method's not for everyone, but I do have books, courses, YouTube tutorials that you can follow along that have this in mind. Okay, summary time. So the best age to learn a guitar is from 4 to 12. And can any age learn guitar? Yes, because my oldest student is 79 and he's amazing. And number 3 is how long does it take? So 2 main things here, the practice, you got to do the work, you got to have the commitment, and then 2 is the method, how you practice, having goals attached. I hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. If you are a parent, a grandparent watching today's video, I hope you feel inspired and see a greater picture of what's possible for yourself, your child, your grandchild, and feel ready to give it a try, giving your precious one a great opportunity that maybe you didn't have as a child. I've provided more learning videos below in the comments, but if you want more structured way of learning, a greater transformational approach to learning guitar, I've also provided a link to my flagship online course, Guitar Start in 30 Days, which you can get a lifetime access for just a really small fee. And if you want to go beyond just tinkering and really get committed, then that might be for you. As always, I appreciate you watching this video. I love to support this awesome growing community here, focused on providing families with love, music and support. My greatest childhood memories are hearing instruments being played at home, and I'd really love that to be the same for you. Until next time, we are boosting confidence, one note, one song, and one lesson at a time.